Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are opening the doors to what we're calling the Philosophy Cafe.
I like that. It feels right for this topic.
It does, because usually when we talk about success, it's all life hacks
All right.
or productivity tips, quick fixes.
Right.
But the material we have today it's different, it's dense, it's structural, and honestly, it's a bit of a reality check.
It is. It's a blueprint for a life well lived, really,
Yeah.
based on the work of a specialist in sociology and psychology.
And we have to start with the question that just kicks this whole thing off. It sounds so simple, but I've been wrestling with it since I read the notes. Is there a real difference between winning and being successful?
It's the kind of question that seems like semantics at first, doesn't it? You think, well, if I win, I'm successful.
Of course.
But the core distinction this specialist makes is that they can actually be diametrically opposed. You can be a winner and be a total failure in life.
That feels so counterintuitive. I mean, we're wired to think the person holding the trophy or the person with the corner office, that's a success story.
But think about the cost. The specialist argues that humans have two sort of biological and psychological imperatives, two things we absolutely must have to function: physical and mental health, and happiness. Those are the non-negotiables.
Right.
Winning is often an external event. You beat the competitor, you got the $1 million. But if you destroyed your health or your peace of mind to get there, you've won the battle.
But you've lost the war of life.
Exactly.
So the guy who has the heart attack at 45 because he worked 90-hour weeks to make partner, he won.
He won. He got the title. But he wasn't successful. Success, according to this framework, is strictly defined as achieving something correct, good, and valuable while maintaining your peace of mind and health.
Okay, so if you cross the finish line and collapse, that's just...
That's a Pyrrhic victory. It's not success.
Okay, so if we're redefining success, we need a new map. And the source material actually gives us a literal shape, a pyramid of success.
Yeah.
And I usually roll my eyes at pyramids, but this one has some interesting layers. At the very bottom, the foundation isn't passion or grit. It's reason, science, and action.
Right. And the order there is very specific. It has to start with the rational mind, reason.
Why there?
Well, if you don't use reason, you can't access science or knowledge. But the part that really struck me is the inclusion of action as a foundational element.
Yeah, it's interesting.
You can have all the philosophy in the world, you can be the smartest person in the library, but if you don't act, the pyramid has nothing to stand on. Knowledge without action it's sterile.
I often think of action as the result. You think, you plan, and then you act. But here, it's the bedrock.
Because without action, you aren't engaging with reality. You're just engaging with your own thoughts. And reality is where success happens.
Okay.
Now, once you have that foundation, the source describes the pillars that hold up the structure, the walls, if you will. And these are
Love and service.
which sounds a bit soft compared to reason and science.
It does, but think of it structurally. The source describes love as the gravity between humans. It's the physics of social connection. Without it, things just drift apart. And service is just love in motion. If you build a life on pure, cold reason and science, without love or service, you might build a structure, but nobody can live in it. It's cold, it's mechanical.
It's a robot's life. Okay, so we have the base and the walls, but the part of this outline that really made me laugh and then think was the chicken metaphor.
Oh, it's a vivid image, isn't it?
It really is. This is about the guiding light at the top, right? Idealism versus ideology.
Exactly. The specialist uses this to explain why ideology is so dangerous. An ideologue is someone who swallows a chicken whole.
Feathers, beak, claws, everything.
Everything. You accept a belief system, political, religious, social, as a total package deal. You don't chew, you just swallow.
And the problem is, while there might be some nutritious meat in there, the bones will choke you. The feathers offer no nutrition. But the ideologue is afraid to pick it apart.
Because if you pick it apart, you might get kicked out of the tribe, right? If I say, I agree with my political party on taxes, but I think they're wrong on health care, suddenly I'm an outsider.
Exactly. It requires courage. And that's where the idealist comes in. The idealist strips the chicken.
Okay.
They take the meat, the truth, the values that work, and they discard the bones. They say, I can learn from this thinker without accepting their racism, or I can value this economic theory without accepting its cruelty.
That seems like the definition of critical thinking, but it's exhausting. It's so much easier to just buy the prepackaged meal.
It is easier. But the source argues that a healthy, successful person must be an idealist. You have to curate your own values. You can't just download them.
Speaking of values, the source lists the pillars of morality that guide this person. We have the classics: justice, reality, liberty, kindness. But there's a fifth one I don't hear discussed as much: honor or prestige.
Yeah, or human dignity. In a modern context, this implies that you cannot be moral if you are stripping others of their dignity, or if you are allowing your own dignity to be stripped.
So it's not about vanity.
No, not at all. It's about recognizing the inherent worth of the human being standing in front of you. It's a check against humiliation. You can't be successful if your rise depends on humiliating someone else.
Precisely. Okay, I want to shift gears a little bit to the psychology of having versus becoming.
Oh, this is a big one.
The source talks about how society's definition of success has shifted from the 3Ks to where we are now. Can you break down those 3Ks?
Sure. In traditional societies, success was structural. It was kinship, so blood; location, so soil; and religion, God.
Who's your father? Where is your land? What is your faith?
Exactly. If you had those, you were successful. You belonged. And that makes sense for survival. If you didn't have the tribe, you died.
Right. Then we moved to the industrial society.
And the metric shifted to money, power, and status. We started keeping score with bank accounts and job titles.
I feel like 90% of us are still living there.
We are. But the source argues we are transitioning into an information or maybe post-information society. And here, the currency changes again.
Okay, to what?
The new metrics are awareness, freedom, morality, and peace.
That sounds lovely, but I'm going to play devil's advocate here. You can't pay rent with awareness.
No, you can't. And here's the distinction. The specialist emphasizes the verb to become over to have.
Say more about that.
We are obsessed with having the $1 million, having the degree. But if you have the money without becoming the person who understands wealth, the money destroys you. Look at lottery winners.
Right.
They have success, but they haven't become successful.
So becoming is about building the internal infrastructure.
Exactly. If you become a person of value, of skill, of discipline, the having usually follows. But even if the money disappears, you are still that person. You can rebuild.
Whereas if you just have it and you lose it,
you're nothing. It's a crucial distinction. It makes success something nobody can take away from you.
But to become that person takes work, and work takes time. And this is where the source drops a physics lesson on us. Time is volume.
This is one of my favorite concepts in this whole deep dive.
Yeah.
We tend to view time linearly, like a timeline. But the specialist says, treat it like volume, like a box.
A box with rigid sides.
Right. If you have a box that is 80 centimeters wide and you try to shove a 1-meter object into it, what happens?
It breaks, or the object breaks. It just doesn't fit.
Physics prohibits it. Yet we do this with our days constantly. We have 60 minutes of volume in an hour. We try to shove 90 minutes of tasks into it. And then when it doesn't fit, we feel this immense anxiety.
We feel like we're failing. Yeah. I feel attacked. I do this every single morning. I look at the clock and think, I can definitely drive 20 minutes and 10 minutes if I just try hard enough.
Right. We try to negotiate with physics. The successful person, according to this blueprint, accepts the volume of time. They don't live in denial.
So they just calculate.
They look at a task and say, this takes 2 hours. I only have 1 hour, so I will not do it today. There's no anxiety, just calculation.
That requires saying no to a lot of things, and it leads us to that matrix we've all seen before, urgent versus important, but with a twist.
The very important twist. We know the quadrants. Urgent important is a crisis. Not urgent, not important. Under is just wasting time.
Right.
But where do successful people live?
They live in the important but not urgent zone.
Correct. The things that are crucial: exercise, studying, building relationships, strategic planning, they never scream at you. They're never urgent until it's too late.
When you skip the gym, no alarm goes off. When you don't read a book, no siren blares.
Until you have the heart attack or you become obsolete at work. Then it's urgent.
Then it's a crisis.
Successful people spend their time preventing crises. They do the work when it's quiet.
But doing the work when it's quiet requires massive discipline, and that connects to the rule that hit me the hardest in this entire text.
I think I know which one.
Today equals tomorrow.
This is the psychological key. Most of us operate on the assumption that tomorrow me is a superhero.
Oh yeah. Tomorrow me loves to wake up early. Tomorrow me loves salad. Today me wants pizza and Netflix.
Tomorrow me is going to handle all the problems today me is creating.
Exactly.
But the specialist says, today is equal to tomorrow. If you are the kind of person who skips the workout today, you are the kind of person who will skip it tomorrow, because tomorrow is just another today.
Oof. So pain today equals pain tomorrow.
And pleasure today equals pleasure tomorrow. If you take the pleasure of laziness today, you are borrowing it from your future. And you pay it back with interest in the form of pain, health problems, financial stress.
That's a successful person.
They accept the pain of discipline today so they can have the pleasure of freedom tomorrow. They don't discount the future.
It's about not screwing over your future self. It's treating your future self like a person you actually love.
Beautifully put.
So let's say we're ready to accept the pain of discipline. We have a goal. The source is pretty harsh on the idea of just wishing for things.
Oh yeah, it takes a swipe at the law of attraction, or The Secret. Yeah. The idea that if you just vibe high enough, the universe delivers.
Right.
The specialist is very grounded. Wanting does not manipulate the physical universe. You can sit in your living room and want it to stop raining with every fiber of your being. The rain does not care.
I have definitely tried to manifest a parking spot before. It's humbling to hear that the universe was ignoring me.
The universe responds to strategy, not wishes. And strategy is defined here in 3 parts: the map, the plan, and the program.
Okay, break those down.
The map is knowing the terrain, all the possible routes to your goal. The plan is making a decision. Okay, I am taking route B.
And the program.
The program is the schedule. I am walking route B at 8 a.m. on Tuesday. Most people have a wish, but they don't have a program.
And once you have the program, you have to execute it with continuity. There's a 4-hour rule mentioned here that I found fascinating.
This is the antidote to burnout. The source suggests that if you study or work on your craft for just 4 hours a day, just 4, but you do it every single day without fail for 27 years, you become a world-class expert.
4 hours doesn't sound like much. We're used to hearing about the 16-hour hustle.
The 16-hour hustle is usually unsustainable. You do it for a week, and then you crash for 2 weeks. That's not a line, that's a jagged edge.
I see.
Success requires linear, non-stop movement. The metaphor used is reading. When you read, your eye jumps back and forth. But success must be a straight arrow.
So it's better to do less, but do it without stopping.
Continuity is the magic. Don't jump from one good job to a better job every 6 months. Don't switch majors 5 times. Finish what you start. That accumulated momentum is what creates expertise.
I want to pause here for a second. We're talking about a lot of internal work discipline, idealism, continuity. And if you're listening and this is resonating, if you're thinking, okay, I need to restructure how I approach my day, we'd love for you to support the mission of the Philosophy Cafe.
Absolutely.
Share this deep dive with a friend who maybe is stuck in that winning trap. It helps us keep these conversations going.
We're trying to build a community of learners here.
That's the goal. Okay, let's go deeper into the self, because none of this strategy works if the person executing it is broken.
Not at all.
The source distinguishes between self-confidence and self-esteem. I usually use them interchangeably.
Most people do, but the distinction is vital. Self-confidence is I know and I can. It is task-specific. You can be incredibly confident at coding, but have zero confidence at a dinner party. It comes from skill.
But self-esteem is the bedrock.
Self-esteem is I am. It's your fundamental sense of worthiness. The source lists 10 components, but there are a few that are absolutely critical. First, human sanctity. The belief that human life, including your own, is sacred. And then boundaries.
I am me and you are you.
Exactly. It sounds simple, but how many of us take on other people's emotions? If your partner is angry, you become anxious. That's a lack of boundaries. A person with high self-esteem can empathize without becoming infected by the other person's state.
The one on the list that stopped me was no shame. Is that even possible, to have zero shame?
It's a high bar. But think about what shame is. Shame is, I am bad. Guilt is, I did something bad. You can have guilt. That's moral. But shame is destructive.
It tells you that you are fundamentally flawed.
Right. The successful person accepts their reality, their mistakes, their history without embarrassment. They say, this is who I am. I'm working on it. It's total acceptance.
And that armor allows you to face the world, specifically the world of work. The source has a very biological view of work.
It does. It moves away from work as just economic necessity and frames it as biological necessity. We need challenge. The seed analogy here is perfect.
Tell us about the seed.
A seed is comfortable in its shell. It's safe. But for it to become a tree, it has to self-destruct. Yep. It has to break its own shell and push through the dirt. It has to struggle.
So if you took away the dirt and the struggle,
the seed would never activate. It would just sit there and rot.
So we are designed to struggle.
We are designed to overcome challenge. The source mentions a sociological observation regarding certain populations, specifically a study on Native American reservations, where the issue wasn't just poverty, but forced dependency. When the government removes the need and the ability to struggle and build for oneself, when you remove the work, the human spirit collapses. You see addiction, depression, chaos.
It's not about culture, it's about the human reaction to having agency removed. If you don't have a hill to climb, you don't just stand still, you start to disintegrate.
Exactly. We need the hill. Work is not a punishment. It is the mechanism of growth.
I guess that's why retirement is often so dangerous for people if they don't have a plan.
If they stop climbing, they start dying, mentally and physically.
We're coming to the end of the blueprint. We have the foundation, the time management, the self-esteem. But the source has one final warning about order.
Hierarchy matters. The analogy is a phone number. Dialing 310 is not the same as dialing 301.
Different result.
The components are the same, but the result is different. You don't connect. In life, if you prioritize things in the wrong order, you create chaos.
For example?
If you put leisure before work or romance before self-identity, the structure fails. Successful people prioritize their top values: health, growth, family first. They pay the tax up front.
And unsuccessful people?
They put those things at number 40 on the list.
Yeah.
And they never get to number 40.
Never. So we've unpacked a massive amount of philosophy here, but I want to land on the definition of the art of living that the specialist provides. It feels like the summary of everything we've talked about.
It is the North Star. The definition is, the art of living is what happens inside me when the world is passing by.
What happens inside me?
That's the locus of control. The world will do what it does. The economy will fluctuate, traffic will be terrible, people will be rude. That is the world passing by. You can't control that.
But you control the inside.
What happens inside you? Do you collapse? Do you rage? Or do you respond with reason and peace?
That brings us back to that word responsibility.
Responsibility.
Yeah.
The ability to respond. Most people just react. They're pinballs bouncing off the bumpers of life.
Yeah.
The successful person, the one who has built this pyramid, has the ability to pause, consult their map, and choose a response.
That's the difference between being a victim of your life and being the architect of it.
Beautifully said.
We've covered pyramids, chickens, time boxes, and seeds. It's a lot. But if you take one thing away, maybe it's that concept of today equaling tomorrow.
Yeah.
Stop waiting for the superhero version of yourself to show up.
Be the superhero today, even if it's just for 10 minutes.
Thank you for walking us through the blueprint. This was a heavy one, but a good one.
Always a pleasure to explore the deep end.
And to you, the listener, go build your pyramid. We'll see you in the next deep dive.